Hello everyone, I'm Ritwin and I'm one of the co-founders at Vite, and today we're going to do another interesting episode of TWL, Together We Learn. So it started off as an internal learning platform, and I would say like a small community of our team members trying to understand what's happening in the world of economics and the world of finance. From there, we started noticing most of our customers, they wanted to learn these things or have these new information. So that's when we started extending it across to the general public as well. So today, Vite as a company, we are a financial wellness platform. What we truly believe in is that every single individual who's watching, who's here at our office, to take smart financial decisions, but it shouldn't be just smart, it should be informed. We want you to understand the product that you're getting yourself involved with. And we believe that for us to do that, for anyone to do that, they need to understand you as an individual, create a plan for you, and then help you execute the plan. And that's what Vite does on our platform, which is available both on iOS and on Android. Right now, jumping into the story that we have in place. We all have seen so many luxury products in the midst of the different cities that we live in, ranging from cars, bikes, jewelries, like expensive fabrics and luxury goods. There are so many of these things, but there's a reason why most of us get attracted to these luxury products. And that's what we're going to uncover today, one slide at a time. And if you guys have any questions, please do drop that in the comment box so that we can jump in and help you find an answer for this. All right, so let's just get into it. So first and foremost, what is luxury good? Right? It's nothing but something that is not necessary for us to survive, but it is highly desirable for us to have because of the society that we live in or the culture that we represent. Right? So that's where the whole concept of luxury goods started forming. And there are various different categories of these that we would have all been exposed to, starting from haute couture, clothing and fur coats, which are nothing but clothes which are made, like for example, brands like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, they all make these fabrics like by hand. They don't put it through a fast fashion process, right? Hence, they're super expensive. Now, apart from this, there are accessories like jewelries and high-end watches like Rolex, AP. All these are different watches which are super expensive, right? And similarly, there are these luggages, bags which are super expensive, like handbags, etc. And let's not just forget the sports cars, because we all love it and we all admire every single one. And we all know most of the times we ended up watching the Fast and Furious series mainly because we wanted to admire those amazing cars that were shown on the screen, right? So similarly, there are other products like the yacht, wine collections that people spend like lakhs and lakhs of money to have. And even like fancy homes and estates like beach houses, estates on the cliff of like looking across the ocean. All these are different luxury goods and items that people typically love owning. And this is one such image that you can see so that you can relate to it, like a Bentley or a diamond, like a Rolex or a fancy bag. These are amazing luxury products that this industry represents. Now, to deep dive into this, the global luxury market size is not anything which is small. It's so massive and it's been increasing year after year. Now, if you see the data here from 2018 till now, you can see that in 2018, like products like luxury fashion was only this much, but now if you see in 2023, it's increased, and in 2028, it's even going to increase more. So that's how the entire industry is evolving. Even there's a category called luxury eyewear, right? Because I do know that brands like Louis Vuitton, they all make luxury eyewears, right? So that's how massive this entire industry has become. Now, coming into inferior goods. Now, when we speak about luxury goods, there has to be an opposite. Everything has an opposite, right? So sun, moon, everything has an opposite. So luxury goods' opposite is inferior goods. It's nothing but the value of these goods or the demand of these goods drop when the income of people increases. So let me give you an example. Let's take a simple brand called Medimix or any soap brand that you're using right now. Now, when you start noticing that your income is increasing, then you might probably go to a different brand, right? Maybe a brand from abroad, because you now can afford that brand. That does not mean that the value of that brand or the price of that product does not go down, but the demand for it goes down when your income increases. Now, this does not mean that inferior products means less quality, but that it could also have a category of products which are of cheaper quality. So it's basically substitute for the luxury product that you have on this side of the spectrum, which is a little more affordable. It basically categorizes on the concept of affordability and not on the quality of the product. Now, there are different types of other goods, which is what I want to talk to you about now. Giffen goods is one such category. It's a very rare form of inferior goods wherein the demand does not drop even if the income increases. So these are basically staples that you find. For example, bread, potato, rice. In this, regardless of how much our income increases, we will still end up going and buying these products, right? So that's where Giffen goods kind of plays its role. So normal goods is nothing but an opposite of inferior goods. Like how I said, luxury goods is the opposite of inferior goods on the other side of the spectrum. This is an opposite of inferior goods, which is called as normal goods. In this, what happens is that even if the income increases, demand will also increase, right? So for example, let's just say we all are buying normal bananas, but when our income increases, when we have that extra money in our pocket, then we will end up deciding to buy organic bananas, right? So that's how normal goods work. And a classic example is the American cereal called Captain Crunch. There is one version which falls under a normal good, but there is also, if your income drops, you can still continue to have that breakfast cereal, but it's from a different brand, from a different packaging called Colossal Crunch, right? So that's another product that you can try, but it's the same thing, right? So that's called a normal good. Now, Veblen goods are nothing but the demand will increase based on the price increase of the product, right? So for example, let's take a piece of art. When someone paints a beautiful artwork, the associated value of it could only be $100. But when someone says that, hey, it's going to be $1 million worth, then everyone will jump in and agree to buy it, mainly because you have more buyers, there's more bidders, or there's more demand for that product because the value of that product is higher, right? So that's Veblen goods, right? So these are the different types of goods. So if you guys want me to recap this, there was luxury goods, there was inferior goods. Under inferior goods, there's Giffen goods. Then there is normal goods, which is like the opposite of inferior goods. But Veblen goods is a type of luxury goods, because when you talk about paintings, and when I say the word $1 million, it's a lot of money. So it falls under the luxury goods category. All right. So now the important thing that most of us who are buyers, who end up buying these different kinds of products, is that we don't realize this word called income elasticity. This is nothing but how the income of the particular individual will impact the demand or the amount of product that we end up buying. So that is called income elasticity, and that's very important for us to remember, because the way luxury goods and inferior goods kind of behave from the graph itself, you can understand it's the opposite, right? So as and when the income of an individual increases, the number of quantity of these luxury goods that we end up buying will also increase, right? And similarly for inferior goods, it's going to be the other way around. That's why it's positive income elasticity of demand. When it comes to inferior goods, it's negative. So as buyers, we don't always think about the technicalities that are related to this buying process, right? And predominantly brands actually look at these components to decide how they need to place a product into the market. Should they place it in a market and start doing a branding around a different approach? Should they bring a Roger Federer instead of another person, a local player from that country, right? So these are different decisions that they take based on these values. And one of those values is income elasticity, which is nothing but how does the quantity or the demand of the products change based on the income increase or income decrease, right? So for luxury goods, that particular elasticity, right, is going to be positive, because when the income increases, the quantity or the demand for the products also in the market increases, right? So similarly, let's just say if you take an example of inferior goods. When the income decreases, that's when the quantity of it will increase, right? So that's how the negative income elasticity of demand is seen in inferior goods. So now coming into the concept of rationality, which is often a very touchy subject because different individuals have different emotions that they play with when they are buying products. Hence, we can obviously say that not every one of us are rational, right? And we all have our reasons for behaving the way we want to behave. So let's just say many consumers end up who buy luxury goods are not actually in the financial position to actually afford for these luxury goods. They buy it basically because of the status, right? And similarly, they end up thinking that higher priced products are of better quality. And I can vouch for that because I've had some food items and I've seen these videos on Instagram where they make these food items. They're all made in the same place, but they end up getting segregated and packaged or branded. I'm going to talk about branding as well. Branded differently so that we end up having that feel that, oh, when it's higher price, it's luxury and it's better quality, right? Then there is also this concept of self-esteem that kind of influences our buying behavior or our purchasing behavior of luxury goods, which also plays a very big role. Now, apart from all of this, in general, the feeling of accomplishment that when we buy a luxury good, it gives us that splurge of good feeling that, hey, we made it so we can afford for it, so we are buying that product, right? And it could always end up being, the reason for us buying it could be for us to feel good, and it could also be because we want to show others that we have made it. So this December, when I took a trip to Thailand, I realized that this concept of authenticity matters actually plays a huge role. So I did see in those bazaars the same copy of Gucci bags sitting there, but people who were with me, they weren't okay in buying that bag, mainly because they didn't want to be associated with a product which looked like the original but which is not the original, right? So which made a huge impact, and that these are the emotions or the irrational behaviors that the marketers or these product owners and designers kind of capitalize on. So why are we really attracted to luxury products? And that's something that we have to get into. So according to the National Center for Biotechnology, there is a particular part of our brain which controls self-interest, which lights up when we look at a luxury product. And this notion, when we buy a luxury product, it makes us feel like we are being part of something that is more than just a necessity, right? We've achieved this, we've earned buying such products which are more luxurious in nature. So this psychological point is something that these marketers and these product owners use to build something called as a luxury branding. It's nothing but a business strategy that focuses on creating a perceived difference between a luxury product and its competitor. It's all about creating that sense of exclusivity and luxury, saying that only some of the audiences in this world can actually taste this. For example, most of the Rolexes are only manufactured in limited editions. The Jordans are manufactured in limited editions. That's why these products have high resale value, because someone or the other has that feeling of missing out, that FOMO, that they're ready to buy it at a higher price than the person who actually bought it, right? So now coming into the types of luxury buyers, and which is a very interesting piece of information because it helps us understand the different types of buyers that are available in our society. Let's start by talking about Veblen effect, right? So people who actually go through this effect, they start realizing that non-luxurious goods are simply inferior just because they aren't of luxury. There's no exclusivity in them, right? So they pretty much buy luxurious products just so that they can show it off in their circle or in the society. Now, when you jump into snob effect, it's nothing but you believe that if something is unique and if something is expensive, then it means exclusivity. And that's what snob effect is. Bandwagon effect is when people associate value of their belonging based on the social identity and the status that they come from. So non-verbally, they are indicating to the rest of the world that they're already at a better place, or they feel more accomplished when they start buying luxury products, right? So there is another concept, there is another effect called hedonic effect, which is nothing but they are focused on the emotional feeling that the product gives and has nothing to do with the status or the value of the product. That plays no significance, but the feeling that it gives. So when they hold a particular bag, they feel more confident. That feeling is something that makes the buyers end up going more towards the luxury products. Now finally, perfectionism effect is nothing but they feel like perfection can only be found with high quality. High quality is equal to higher priced products. So this is when people end up doing that. Around 47% of the UK audience ends up feeling like this is how it works. They feel like products which are higher priced are of more quality than the products which look the same or feel the same or serve the same purpose. So that's how the whole luxury buyer category works. Now, jumping into the context of India. So India is an evolving nation. It is growing tremendously, and those are the reasons why we talk about investing in the Indian market or saving in the Indian market today, right? And if you look at it, the market is bound to expand around 3.5 times compared to the current size and reach around 200 billion mark by 2030. And this is mainly because of the rising ultra high net worth individual size in India, which is nothing but anyone who has a net worth of more than 30 million. 30 million USD, if I convert it to Indian rupees, is about 200 crores in net worth, right? Now, apart from this, there are other reasons as well. For instance, there is a greater penetration of e-commerce in the country. There is more stronger middle class segment that is coming up now. So they also want to start experiencing these luxury products. And if you notice, all these luxury brands, they have multiple different tiers. They have Armani's Emporium, which is the premium category, but there's also another sub-premium category called Armani Exchange, which the rest of the audience can also strive to get. Right? They're equally expensive, but they are still something that people can get. And if you see this data that you see on the screen right now, they're splurging so much on fine products, especially on sports cars. You can see the brown line increasing year by year. It's literally one line which is peaking. And post-COVID, if you saw Mercedes and other brands, they actually sold more cars than they actually sold the previous years, right? So apart from this, people also are feeling more conscious about luxury beauty products and personal care products, that they want to spend more in them. And this all kind of accounts to the boom in the influencer campaigns that are happening. The actors who are now, before they used to be only on the screen and only on TVs, but now they do promotion for their products from right within their homes. So all of these kind of starts accounting to the market. And the craziest story that happened in the last 1.5 months is when Louis Vuitton made the smallest bag ever, which is just the size of a sea salt grain. It's even smaller than that, right? And it had an online bidding, and it was sold for $63,000 US, which is approximately greater than 70 lakhs, right? That's how expensive that bag was. And the bag came with a microscope, which means the only thing that you can do with it is keep it in a watch glass and then showcase it to your friends as part of something that you achieved or something that you bought, right? So that's the craziest news that happened. And it's all over the internet as well, where they talk about this particular bag. All right. So that's all that we have today about luxury products. And let's not forget that it does leave that feeling of self-interest. The kind of starts lighting up that self-interest component. And this could be from driving a sports car to going in a first class or a business class air ticket to the US or anywhere else, right? It could be different reasons, but they're all connected to that one part of our brain which kind of lights up, right? So all of us it's finally our choice of deciding what we want to do with our money. But it's always good that while we buy these luxury products, it's also good for you to start planning on how you can buy them, at the same time also have enough wealth, generating more and more wealth for you, so they can buy more and more of these things in the upcoming years. So if you guys have any questions, any doubts, any feedback, please do drop them on the comment box and I'll be able to jump in and explain. This particular topic was curated by Sagrika, who's another co-founder of mine. She's the one who pitched this to our team members a couple of weeks back, and I'm just explaining this to you so that the rest of the world can also learn something new today. Thank you so much for your time. Have a lovely week ahead, and I'll see you in the next episode of TWL.